We often treat the Quran as a static record of the past, but the text describes itself as a live, time-independent topological engine, a system designed to process human consciousness in the present. This is an Eternal Memory Tesseract. It is a closed system where ancient narratives do not sit in the past. They function as active coordinates, recurring whenever an observer engages with the code. Like any engine, this system has a specific failure state, a point where the flow of consciousness stops and hardens. The primary case study for this failure is Pharaoh. In chapter 10, verse 92, the text states that Pharaoh's physical body was preserved specifically to serve as a sign. While the animating truth of his soul was rejected, his physical mass was kept behind, frozen in time. Pharaoh represents spiritual necrosis. In the fluid field of this universe, he became a static clot, dead residue that failed to move through the system's purifying cycle. To avoid becoming static residue like Pharaoh, the soul must remain in motion. But how is that motion maintained? The text points to the Qalb Salim, or the sound heart. In chapter 39, verse 23, it describes how the skin and hearts of those who recognize the word shiver and then soften. This rhythmic shivering and softening is the definition of a pulse. Because the book is built on mathani, paired or repeated verses, its interaction with the soul creates a heartbeat of systole and diastole. Surviving the engine requires navigating these two phases. The soul must learn to contract and expand in synchronization with the universe's own rhythmic pressure. The first phase is diastole. In a heart, this is the filling phase, where the chamber opens to receive flow. In this framework, it represents the soul descending into the chamber of the physical world. This descent is a dangerous intake of mass. The figure of Iblis represents a corrupting fall, a soul that entered the physical realm but became trapped in its own gravity, lacking any mechanism to return. Ibrahim's descent into the fire provides a different outcome. Though cast down into a terminal environment, the descent is transformed into a purifying one. The system issues a specific command. The fire is ordered to become coolness and peace. By submitting to the rhythm of the descent, Ibrahim remains intact, even as the environment tries to consume him. Every soul must undergo this diastolic filling, entering the heavy world of mass. But whether that pressure destroys the soul or purifies it depends entirely on the soul's internal synchronization. The second phase is systole, the ejection. This upward vector is the command to raise. Here, the engine pumps mass out. We see this in Idris, raised to a high station, and ultimately in Isa, who bypassed death, exiting the world's measured loop entirely. This is the universe's ultimate stroke volume. When the engine is healthy, it generates enough force to discharge the soul forward without losing its essential spiritual substance. A successful systolic ascent is the final proof of a sound heart. It is the ability to be discharged by the universe back towards the source, avoiding the static fate of the Pharaoh clot. Pharaoh is the necrotic failure, mass that stayed behind, but the intended output is a renewed, purified mass that moves through the cycle and returns. The text notes that Adam and Isa share the same origin in elemental dust. It's the human vessel's baseline material, waiting to be activated. In this cosmic heartbeat, mass is not simply a burden to be discarded. It is the material sent through the diastolic fall, purified under pressure, and re-ejected into a higher state. This topological engine suggests that mass is never truly lost. It is a container, continuously reoccupied and refined through this endless cycle of contraction and expansion. The most critical part of this topology is where it is located. The field is not external. You are standing at its center. Your heart is the locus where this geometry is executed. Every rhythmic pulse is a micro-iteration of the fall and the raise. Passive reading is not enough to survive the failure state. The text demands reason, a conscious pattern recognition that pierces the illusions of the static world. To ensure a successful descent and ascent, the system requires a deliberate grip on the code. The final challenge is here. When will you activate verse 1912 and take it with strength?